Have you ever been in a situation where you are in a call with a prospect, a really potential buyer? You have your agency service, maybe you have B2B lead gen, maybe you have aiaa, you're pitching it to the client, and everything's going extremely well. You're psyched up, you're like, okay, this is gonna be a deal. And then the prospect asks, yeah, everything sounds good, but can we see some case studies? Or can we talk to a referral? And you know the deal has been lost. These are really common situations that a lot of beginners experience when starting out their business. They don't have the case study yet. Maybe they're just going for their first client. Maybe they already have a client, but they haven't really gotten any crazy results. And they get these case study objections over and over again on sales calls. This is really common. This happens a lot, and it can be really demotivating if you don't know what you should be doing. And because they don't have case studies, they struggle proving their worth, so they end up signing really shitty clients at really low prices, and their agency becomes a mess. In the past 12 months, we have actually helped over 200 people start their B2B lead gen agency from scratch and sign their first client, $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 packages, even some 10K packages. So in this video, I'm gonna show you the exact thing that we have showed those 200 people and how they have been able to make it happen. So you are able to start signing some good clients with some good prices without getting the case study objections. So the first thing that is really important for us to understand is reason why they ask for the case studies. Because you might be asking this question from yourself, like, okay, why are these people asking for the case studies? Why always do I get hit with them? And of course, if you want to come up with a solution for this problem, you need to understand why it's even happening in the first place. So let's just cover it quickly. So the first reason why people ask for case studies is because they don't trust the mechanism or that can work for them. So if you, for example, you're selling cold email lead generation, they might not even trust that it works. Like, who uses cold email anymore? Or they might trust that it works. They're like, oh yeah, it makes sense, but it won't work for us because of reasons X, Y, and Z. And obviously, because you are pitching them, you know that it's false, but they don't. So they have no trust on the mechanism. Or maybe you're selling Facebook ads or some AI stuff, whatever it might be. They don't trust that it will benefit them and that they will actually get the results that they're looking to get. The second thing is that they don't trust that specifically you can get them results. So they might think, okay, yeah, Facebook ads or cold email or whatever it might be, that's absolutely amazing. I know it works. My friend with his company, he tried it. I have seen it work. I don't think that he can deliver the results to me. I think there can be someone else who is way more qualified with this. So I don't really think that this person is good enough to do it for us. The third reason why it might happen is the risk to reward ratio. It isn't good. They might, there's a great reward, but there's a huge risk that it doesn't work out. Or maybe they're just like, there's like a small reward, but a huge risk. It's just the risk to reward ratio, it just isn't aligned. So they are looking to see the case. They're like, okay, just show me what it can do. The next thing is no clarity on outcome or ROI. So they might think, yeah, everything sounds good, the service looks fairly good, but there's no clarity on the outcome or the ROI. They can't really picture themselves of like, okay, what is our life or business gonna look like in a month, in 2 months, in 6 months? What is gonna be the effect? Or maybe the ROI isn't clear. They don't really see a great return on the investment. They don't see how their money could be paid back. They're like, it looks good, but the price doesn't really match the outcome and there's no clarity on the ROI, which of course makes it super hard to buy. And then the last thing why people ask for case studies and past results, etc., is for smoke screens. So pretty much what a smoke screen is that they just have some underlying issue with you, or they have something that is clear, or they're confused about something, or they just don't understand it, and they're trying to be nice. They're like, I don't want to tell this guy no, because he's such a nice dude, so I'm just gonna ask for something that's gonna let me buy back some time, or maybe they just need some time to think, but they don't want to be honest with you. So they ask for the case study. They're just trying to get off the call. They're trying to forget it and leave it behind, and like, can you show me some case studies? We'll think about it, blah, 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 because they're not actually giving you the real objection. Maybe they don't have the money to buy it. They are just too embarrassed to say it. So they end up wasting your time with these smokescreen objections that they're pretty much trying to block the actual real objection with. Of course, there can be other reasons as well, but these are the main reasons why people ask for case studies and why you get hit with a case study objection as a beginner. But the great thing also is that when there's a problem, there's always solutions for them. One thing that I just want to cover and explain before we go into the actual solution and how to make sure that you don't suffer from this is something that is really important to understand when you're starting out throughout your agent journey or business journey. So trust and status are a huge part of business. If you are looking to buy anything, you're scrolling on Amazon, or you're looking to buy a course or a coaching or a service or whatever, you're always going and seeing reviews. You want to see what it looks like. You want to see if people are actually liking it. That happens to everyone, and that's what everyone does. So it's completely normal for a prospect to ask for the case study, because that's what you would probably do as well. And it's a huge part of the business. And because they are extremely useful, your number one goal is the case study. You don't want to focus on hitting 10K a month. You don't want to focus on buying a new Rolex. You don't want to focus on being able to quit your job and start traveling. You need to focus on getting a case study. It is 100% possible to get like really good case studies in a really fast amount of time. You need to remember that to get the case study doesn't have to be like, yeah, I made $10 million for this company. It can just be something that proves that it works. I booked 5 calls in 2 weeks, or we made extra $10,000 for this company. Like, that's already way better than having nothing. And also, you need to understand that as a beginner, everything in business is just inputs and outputs. You do something, you get some kind of results. So in a normal scenario, you might be able to just do X amount of things and get Y amount of results. So pretty much, I know that's a bit of a confusing thing, but you're able to do 300 cold emails that will book you 3 calls. And from those 3 calls, you're going to sign a client, and that one client is going to be worth 10K for you in the long run. So you know that, okay, 300 emails results in $10,000 in revenue. Boom, that's nice. But when starting out, these numbers are going to look different. And that's part of the game. That's completely normal. You don't have as much leverage as the person who has a case study. You might have to do 900 emails to generate 5 calls, and from those 5 calls you'll close 1, and that one client is going to be worth $5,000 for you, because you can't charge that high prices. So you need to do more work to get results that are in a lot of cases smaller. And then if you want to get the same results as the other guy who already has the case studies, you need to do way more work. And that's completely normal. That's how business works. Everything in business compounds. When you get the case studies, when you get the experience, when you get the skills and knowledge, everything gets easier. So you need to understand that when starting out, you shouldn't be crying, oh, I don't have a case study, everything is hard, blah, blah, blah. No, just accept it. It's part of starting out. Everyone has to go through it. Just shut up, get to work, and actually put in some work to get the case study. If it was easy to start out, everyone would be starting out these legion agencies and whatever kind of agencies there are. And there would be nothing special about it. The next thing is solutions. So, okay, what do we actually need to do as an agency owner to make sure that we don't get hit with these case study objections as much? And even if we do, we actually solve the situation and we actually make it work. So the first problem really that we talked about is the prospect doesn't trust the mechanism or that it can specifically work for them. So the solution for this obviously would be that we make a really good VSL that describes the mechanism and shows how the mechanism works, how powerful it is, and how it can work for specifically their type of companies. So if you work with cybersecurity companies in the Latin America, you just show them in your VSL, okay, this is the mechanism, this is cold email, this is how cold email prospecting works, this is why it's so powerful, this is why it's so much better than the things that you have been doing before, and this is how it works specifically for cybersecurity companies in Latin America. That way, you'll never get the objection, because that objection has already been covered before they hop on a call. Then the second thing is that they don't trust you specifically. So we need to position you as high status as possible, and we need to increase your perceived status as much as we can, so the prospect actually sees you as an expert and they know that, okay, this guy will get shit done, this guy will get results. How do we increase status? So we do it in the VSL. So in the VSL, we present the VSL really well. We do it really professionally. We take our background stories, so anything that you've pretty much done, if you have worked with cybersecurity companies before, if you have any achievements, anything pretty much that bumps up your status delta. I have done this, I've gone to this school, I have worked with these companies, I've gotten these results, I was a sales guy, we closed this amount of revenue, whatever it can be. Just leverage your background as much as you possibly can. Present it actually professionally to the prospect. Do a lot of market research about the market so you're able to specifically describe the state of the market and things happening in the market. All of those things will make you seem like an expert. They show to the prospect, okay, this guy doesn't fuck about, this guy actually knows what he's talking about, and it's going to increase your status. So there's going to be no need thinking like, okay, will this guy actually get us results or not? So they're going to see that, okay, this guy actually knows what he's doing. Second thing, communication. So sometimes I see people just on sales calls, they have this shitty camera, they have a really bad microphone just cutting up, they're in a dark room, they're sitting like this, have their hoodie on, they're like,
okay, do you want to buy my service? Mr. Prospect. Like,
they are just like slobs. They just are like, I would never buy anything if I would get sold like that. Like, no way. And I have seen it happen so many times. There has been a hot prospect and the salesperson has fucked it up because they have been a slob. They didn't have a high status presentation of themselves. So make sure that you just improve your camera quality a bit. Get a bit better microphone. When you go to calls, have a nice button-up shirt. Have good lighting. Make sure that there's nothing crazy happening in your background. And these things don't cost much. Like, you can get a great webcam for like $50 and you get a great microphone like $50-$100. And that's gonna make a big difference. Make sure that you have some natural light coming in. Make sure that there's nothing happening in your background. Be in a quiet room. Have good audio. Have good internet connection. And sit straight. Actually present yourself well. Make sure that your hair isn't all fucked up. Go to the barber shop weekly. Get yourself groomed. Make sure that your beard doesn't look like you're homeless. And just present yourself clearly and professionally. This doesn't mean that you need to have a suit and that you need to sit up there like all straight up like this, like, hello, Mr. John. Today I would like to, like, no need for that, bro. But just don't look like a hobo. Don't look like a slob. And the last thing that you can do increasing your status delta really easily is digital presentation. So we just talked about physical presentation and like how you can physically increase your status delta, but you can also do it digitally. Have a website. Like, it doesn't have to be any nice website with crazy themes, but just like have a nice theme on it. Optimize your LinkedIn profile. Have a bit of content on your LinkedIn. Have a great profile picture. Like, all of these small things that make you look like a professional on the internet. Make sure like when they Google your name that there isn't like some crazy Instagram post where you're just chugging a bottle of Jack Daniels. Like, that's not really gonna do any good for you. So make sure that your digital footprint is like okay. So then the next thing is the risk to reward ratio. It isn't clear, and also that they have no clarity on outcome or ROI. So what you need to do is when you're pitching, you need to make sure that your pitch is clear and you're focusing on the end outcome, the risks, the rewards, and what is the ROI on it. For example, if you're selling a B2B lead gen, it's gonna be extremely simple. Okay, John, let's say that we work together for 12 months, and this is what usually the time period we work together. During these 12 months, we book you 100 sales calls in your calendar. And let's say that from those 100 sales calls, 80 end up being qualified. So you actually get 80 good quality sales calls you can go into. From these 80 calls, let's say you close a 20% closing rate. That's going to be 16 new clients in these 12 months. And if your average deal size is 20K, so their average service is $20,000, or average client lifetime value is $20,000, then we know that, okay, we're going to be making an extra $320,000 during these 12 months if these numbers come true. But of course, worst case scenario, let's say that you only close at 10%, boom, then the numbers would look like this, and we would only make 160K. Or let's say that we only get you 50 calls booked and only 30 of them are qualified. From those, we close 3 clients and blah, 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 blah. You can just show them these worst case, best case scenarios. What happens if everything fucking goes wrong? And if your offer is built correctly, it's gonna still be good. It's gonna still be a clear ROI for them. And the last thing is smoke screens. So like I mentioned, usually the smoke screens are objections that they just give the buyback time, or just pretty much they're just trying to get rid of them. So what you just need to do is you just need to dig into these smoke screen objections and figure out what is the actual thing that they're looking to get. Like, okay, John, like, what would you like to see from the case study? Are you just looking to see if it works for you? Are you looking to see what is the ROI? Yeah, I would just like to see that it works. I'm just not sure that it's gonna work for a cybersecurity company in Latin America like us, so I just wanna see like a case study out of it. And then you can just attack that objection immediately. Like, oh, actually, yeah, John, makes sense, but there's nothing to worry about. Boom, 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 boom. Give them the answer. Okay, knowing that, would you be ready to move forward? So you're able to dig the objections from them that they're actually giving you. And also a great way to do it is ask them, okay, John, let's say that I would provide you a case study. I would show you a case study showing that all of what I just talked about is true. If that was the case, would you 100% sure be ready to sign the paper and start working next Monday? And then if they tell you yes, then you know that, okay, they're just actually looking to see a case study and looking to see some proof. But if they tell you no, I would still have to think about it, then you know that there actually is an underlying objection that you haven't been able to figure out, you haven't been able to dig out, and then you need to focus on that. Because then even if you give them a case study or you actually show them some proof somehow, it won't matter. There's gonna be no difference because they don't actually have that objection. They still have something and they're just trying to buy back time and they're just trying to get rid of you. So also, if you want to learn on what our company does and how we help people like you build a B2B lead gen agency from $0 to $10,000 a month, you can go check out our stuff from the description. We have some free trainings, all of that interesting stuff. So go check those out if you're looking to build a B2B lead gen agency. And also, if you enjoyed the video, drop me a like. If you didn't, drop me a dislike. That's completely fair. And I'll see you on the next one.